The Watauga County Spotlight on Education show is brought to you by the orthodontal and pediatric offices of Drs. Mayhew, Scheffler, Kahn, and Hardaway.
Welcome to Spotlight on Education. I'm David Fonseca, Interim Superintendent for Watauga County Schools, and with us today is Trudy Moss. And I'm going to introduce Ms. Moss as a media specialist, and she's going to tell us exactly what that is for Watauga High School. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me today. And
how are you?
Thank you for giving us a week off next week.
Tell you what, I'm a giver.
Well, we appreciate it. We're looking forward to it.
We try not to put a date on it, but Trudy just put a date on this thing. So next week, actually, the taping is happening before spring break for Watauga County Schools. All right, she threw a curve at me. All right. So tell us a little bit about yourself and how you became where you are and who you are now, and what led you to that and what led you to Watauga High School.
Okay. Well, I'm a media specialist, but the general public probably knows us as librarians. That's what we are. And I am finishing my 26th year. And I actually started in Watauga County Schools in about 1995. So I've been here for, I guess, about 9 years, and graduated from Watauga High School too many years ago to tell you. But this is just my passion, working with books and working with kids. And when I was a little girl, my grandfather was in office supply sales, and he gave me a little dater, which is what you call the stamp that you put a stamp in the back of the book that tells you when the book is due. Oh. So when other kids were playing school, I was actually playing library, and
really
put little cards and pockets in the backs of my books and checked them out to my friends and sisters. And so I go way back as a librarian. That's kind of how I got into it.
So you went to the library and you enjoyed going to the library?
I did. I've been an avid reader, and just decided that was something I wanted to do, working with kids. And
well, excellent. I think we're very fortunate to have you here. We have some mutual acquaintances from my prior school district.
We do.
Yeah, we do. So tell us about what is it that you do now? What is the job of the media specialist, or as we used to know them, librarians today? Right. What is the job of it today?
Well, I'm glad you asked that question, because we actually wear many hats in a school. We have a role that is somewhat of a teaching role, and then also somewhat of a support role for other teachers in the school. And we really do a unique job in a school. We maintain a facility, and we are responsible for building and maintaining a collection that supports all the curricular areas in the school, as well as any other informational or leisure reading needs for any teacher or student. So that's a big part of our responsibility, and that means that we need to be curriculum specialists. We need to know what all is going on in all the classrooms and all the different areas for school and all the grade levels, so that we can support the curriculum. We also serve as AV technicians. In a pinch in Watauga County, we serve as computer technicians. We help support all that. We solicit community involvement for our schools. In the elementary schools, we have a big fundraiser at least once, maybe twice a year, and that is the book fair that generates funds. At the high school, we have student assistants, so we work with students. We teach classes. We try to instill a love of reading in young children, and then at the high school level, we're really helping students to become savvy information consumers and producers and analyzers of information. So we do a lot of different things.
Thank you. That's very interesting. I'm going to ask you a question in just a minute about the changes that you have seen over the years that you've been in your career. If you are just joining us, this is Spotlight on Education for Watauga County Schools. I'm David Fonseca, Interim Superintendent, and with us today is Trudy Moss, media specialist for Watauga High School. What have been the changes? What are the changes that you've seen from when you entered the profession to today?
That's a great question, because I have been in this field for 26 years. I've gone from, just the very beginnings of the technology that we're seeing today. I started out in a school that had an Apple IIe lab, and that was state of the art at that time, all the way now to working in a one-to-one school. So I guess I'd say that's really by far the biggest change that I've seen in schools in my quarter century of doing this. And you know, the opportunity to work in a one-to-one school here in Watauga County now has just been tremendous and has been a real highlight of my career. That's one of the biggest changes that I've seen.
Are students reading less because of the accessibility to video content and video information? What do you think?
You know, I was thinking about that. When our students at the high school get a computer, I'd say there's a period of time that students are just really excited about having that technology in their hands. A lot of students haven't had a laptop before. It's a new experience for them. It's a learning experience, and I've heard Tamara Stamey mention that you know, the difference between seeing that as a tool or seeing that as a toy. I think there is a short period of time when they are looking at it as kind of a toy, but that passes fairly quickly, and so then I think they're actually using that as the tool that it's intended to be. And we do have e-books in our library that students can check out and read on their laptops. We also have e-readers, Kindles and Nooks that students can check out. So we have alternative ways for them to read other than books, but I don't think that I would say students aren't reading as much. I think there's still a lot of avid readers at this age, and they get different things maybe from the internet and from technology than they get from a book. I think they still enjoy, just like we do, curling up with a good book and whiling away some time reading.
As far as academics is concerned, we still have our higher academic courses, the more rigorous courses, that are still doing a lot of reading, though.
Exactly.
Okay.
And Common Core, which a lot of people have heard of, has brought in the need for students to be able to really access and interpret informational reading. So the focus in a lot of Common Core standards is being able to meet your information needs through reading, being able to, for instance, take a manual or a how-to book and interpret the steps in you know, producing a product or doing some kind of procedure. So Common Core is asking us to encourage students to read maybe in a different way, for a different type of literacy.
Okay. Our time is coming to an end. If you're just joining us, this is Spotlight on Education for Watauga County Schools. Today we're visiting with Trudy Moss, one of our media specialists in the district and the media specialist for Watauga High School. In the old days, a librarian.
That's right.
What do you think our teachers feel like? Do they agree with you that our students are still reading a lot, that they still have to do a lot, even despite of the computers and accessibility to video content?
I think so. I think we all understand that technology is a wonderful tool in our schools, one that we know our students need the capability to access for the job market, to be competitive in a global society. But I think nobody's suggesting that we do away with books or print, that we've had students in the library just this week actually using good old paper books to do some of their research. So I think we're all on the same page, no pun intended, with that.
So let's wrap it up and just tell us two things. One is, what are the genres that our students are more interested in? What kind of book have you seen from when you started to now? Are they still interested in all the actions and thrillers, or what are they interested in? And then what do you read to decompress?
Well, students are really into science fiction and fantasy at the high school. That's one of the genres that we can't keep on the shelf. And they love series. They love anything that is continued in another book. I think that's comforting to them to know that something doesn't end, but they'll get to follow that character in another book. They love graphic novels, which is something that's new, that wasn't around when I was in school. So we've tried to build a better graphic novel collection. Personally, I am a nonfiction reader. I love nonfiction, but I do read a lot of the young adult fiction that they're reading, so I'll be able to recommend books and talk about books. This is National Library Week, so that's an exciting week for librarians, and the American Library Association puts out award-winning books in January, so we've been ordering those books and they've been coming in. So just recently our book club. We have a Nook book club, so we read on e-readers. We've been reading one of those award winners, which is the Prinz Award winner, and this year was called Navigating Early, and it's got some things about the Appalachian Trail in it,
okay.
so it's a good read.
Excellent. And it coincides, this interview coincides with National Library Week.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you for being with us. You have been watching Spotlight on Education for Watauga County Schools. If you are interested in knowing more about library, maybe even how to become a media specialist or a librarian, as we used to call them, the contact information is on your screen, as well as the website address. We have been visiting with Trudy Moss. Thank you.
Thank you.
The Watauga County Spotlight on Education show is brought to you by the orthodontal and pediatric offices of Drs. Mayhew, Scheffler, Kahn, and Hardaway.